What up, everybody? Physics Shebang here, and today we're doing something a little bit different. For one of the Moogle Mob seeds, we have SNG Plays here, and they have requested a VOD review. So I am going to watch this VOD, and we're going to see how everything goes and make notes and comments and things like that on how perhaps it could have been ran a little bit faster or optimized, things of that nature. So it's little under 2 hours, so let's get into it right away. All right, so first of all, check characters. This may look familiar to some of you because this is the Moogle Mob number 3 that I did recently. All right, yep, so I mean, that looked fine. I would definitely practice on, as you go through everything, try and look through your skills as quickly as possible. Just kind of tunnel vision, just where you can see their skill, rapidly R1 through it. Equip your Moogle charm on whoever's going to be the least useful. That's what I do anyway. And then go. I think one thing that I didn't see is probably whenever you have an Edgar start, put him in the front as well. That way you're already prepared for half off stuff. Just one less menu later. This is kind of like nitpicky a little bit, but this game actually, you lose time by basically each step and turn you make is losing you a little bit of time. So it's better just to move here, go up, down, go here, up, down, go here, up, down, and get out. As opposed to just doing like one, then over here turning one, over here turning one, down here, here, here. It's just, this is actually a little slower. So it's better just to quickly do that. Plus it makes less movement, so it's less likely that you are going to sort of miss movement it. Nitpicky, but like throughout the case of or throughout the entire seed, it all adds up. Any kind of little routing optimization you can do adds up to, could be minutes just depending on how all the routing goes. So I suppose what I could say here a little bit is just that that many smoke bombs probably too many for a seed. Unlikely that you're going to use 10 of them. I usually get 5, and it's very rare I actually use them. They're not particularly expensive, but it's still just money that you probably won't get much out of. But otherwise, looks like you're doing fine. I would just like during that menuing, there was a lot of sort of flip flopping, going to the top, to the bottom, to the top, to the bottom. So try and just like work your way up or down. Either start from the bottom and just go up line by line, or start at the top and go down line by line, as opposed to bouncing around a lot. Yeah, that's pretty good. I got no complaints about that. Atlas armlets are pretty affordable, and it's almost always good just to have one. Yeah, pro rods are more expensive than all the other rods by a significant margin. The other rods are about 2,500. Pro rods are always like 9K, so it's rare that they're actually necessary, particularly in a Moogle Cup seed. The flying looked pretty good there, but I would start recommending practicing sharp turning. I know we just started the seed, and I don't know if you sharp turn at all, but if you hold the shoulder buttons while you turn, you can sharp turn. I have a tendency to do that. You know, I'll sharp turn to point where I'm going and then just fly there. I find it easier than trying to fly while turning. All right, so here's where this is where you would want to have Edgar up front. All of this is half off. So Edgar gets half off only if he's in the front of your party in both World of Balance and World of Ruin Figaro Castle. And also World of Ruin South Figaro. There you go. Good. At least you figured it out before you spent too much more money on stuff. That's good. Yeah, I definitely, again, I'll just reiterate one more time, instead of just like reading through it and then buying, just like when you read it, you buy it. If it's something that you need. That way you just don't spend so much time going up and down the menu. You might need to sell something, but you definitely don't need to sell something here, right? So it's all about that optimization of when you do things. Ah, looking for remedies. Okay, I can see what you were going for there. Got a Mog lover, huh? That's interesting. Okay, that's pretty interesting. South Figaro, no returners, so a little bit less looting. I suppose another thing about flying, try your best to not fly up. Let me actually go back real quick. So what I tend to do is I'm gonna actually go back just a little bit to when you get in your airship. So what I recommend is don't go up, and honestly, don't even look at your screen most of the time. Like that's why most people will fly up is to get a better view, but honestly, it's only necessary when you're close to your target. What I recommend is the little dot right here on your map. Just focus on that. So I'll sharp turn and aim it to where I'm going. So I just like hold R or L and just turn the airship to face it as quick as possible and then just beeline it right to it. And then I look at my actual exact placement when I'm close to the location. You don't want to fly up because you're taking time flying up, and then when you land, you're going to take even more time going down. So it's every time you do that, you're losing a few seconds. So if you can cut that out entirely, you just save a bunch of time throughout the seed just with general movement. The Rage Ring can be sold, but Rage Ring is also a form of Merton protection. So it's not a bad idea to keep it around. For whoever can equip it, they're going to be absorbing fire. So for lack of shields or Minervas or red jackets or whatever, you could always keep a Rage Ring. And there's times where I've had entire Merton seeds possible because I had a Rage Ring. It's a bit niche, but it's good to think about. It doesn't really sell for that much either. Skip around a little bit. Seems like you're looking for the right stuff. That's good. For ribbons, for me, if I don't have lock, I just sell that thing. It's good money. So this is again, I'm gonna be real nitpicky just to help you out on routing and things like that. So since it's a VOD review, I'll just give you tips as I see them. So you kind of like I mentioned it earlier, but every time you turn, it takes some time. So you can actually just go straight up here, smash into this, and then head straight to the left. She's always gonna walk this way, so she's never gonna be in your way. You just go straight up, straight left, and you're gonna be right next to the bookshelves. Then you go up left. You don't have to do like a little zigzaggy little thingy, whatever. It's just up, left, and you're there. Oh, interesting. You're not going to do the special basement. Just in case you don't know that the special basement exists. Not everybody does it, but it's down here. So you go into this wall and then run to the right, and it'll take you to a special dungeon with, or a special, I mean, it is like a dungeon down there, but two treasure chests down there. I'm a little confused about the curse shield because you don't have a lock. It does not. Condemn still kill you. I'm not sure if you can actually hear you on the VOD, but you were asking if the memento ring is going to override condemned, and it will not. Yeah, that ribbon would be out of my face real fast. Seems like you're interested in the cursed shield, but there's no way to get the cursed shield unless you have lock. I'd make a note in there of the snipers. They're not a top tier item, but they're an item that can get you through a seed when you really need it. Like if you need it, you really need it. No sleeping bags, no warp stones, huh? That's interesting. I probably would have recommended getting the sleeping bags there and at least a couple warp stones. Hold on, what did he have again? I already forgot. Oh, morph. Okay, yeah. Morph 2x damage later on. That's good. Yeah, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, you're probably losing minutes to flying up in the air throughout the seed. So that would be one immediate way to just cut like a couple minutes off your flight time. 2 to 4 seconds each time definitely adds up. I'd probably be checking the relic shops too because you haven't found any earrings yet, which is always good for magic damage. Ooh, that's dangerous. Oh my. Oh no, what'd you reset for? You could have just ran. You had all those smoke bombs you bought. All those smoke bombs you bought, you could have just ran. That's not a fight that you can't run from, so that would have saved you some time to not reset.
I knew that was a monster in a box as soon as I like pressed right before as my muscle moved. I was like, no, don't press that.
Yeah, that was a dangerous move. It happens though.
Especially with pugs there, we are not fighting that at all. That is not a fun fight.
It's possible you didn't know that you could run from them, but you can run from most monsters in a box. Not all of them. I think just Katana Soul is the only one you can't run from, if I recall correctly.
I knew that one was a base. Don't. You. Get up. A lot of X potions. That's good.
Skip ahead a little bit. Don't need to watch the cutscene. I think that was an offering or something, wasn't it? Yeah. I can't believe I remember that. That's crazy.
Now we need a good item for that to go with.
Ah, okay, you are checking it. Got it. Just a different order than I normally do it in, but that's fine. I just saw you run in that direction, so maybe you were thinking about checking Zen Thief and remembered that you have already purchased it.
What do you think we're gonna pair with our offering? 6 dice, or are we gonna pair it with a VK? Nothing amazing in that shop. Drill. We have a tools user.
Good call. Get the flash though. Flash is one that you always want to pick up as well. It seems like it's not very effective, but magic damage in this game is almost always better than physical early on. And that's an area effect, non-elemental spell. So that just gives you a real quick way to do like a burst 200 damage to the whole pack, and it super adds up. I will say it's also really risky to just like fly around in the world of ruin because you could run into Doomgaze and just wipe. Yeah, I hear you saying it now. Okay. Yeah, super dangerous. Good to save before you go doing that just in case. It happened to one of my Moogle mob seeds that I posted on here recently where I'm like, make sure to save before you go flying around. And then I saved and immediately ran into Doomgaze. So it's perfect.
It's only very situationally that it's better. Nothing super great. Just Marvel shoes is the only thing that's tempting me.
Marvel shoes are pretty mid.
6 down. That's good.
They're good if you have nothing else, which they actually would have been really good in this seed for me. Yeah, sell the house. Perfect.
Too much?
Nope.
Not enough.
Not too much. Never too much.
Could have got a Genji armor.
Keep that shop in mind. You don't need it right this moment, but I mean, you could pick it up if you wanted to. But it's I came here at the end to make sure I had enough armor for the last boss. So I was feeling really under armored by that point.
Tempted to buy that Genji armor. Just to get me started. Okay, we're good. We're through the shops. We are on our way to fight a dragon.
Oh, we're going for early dragon with no earrings. That's interesting. I think there was loot of a hero ring somewhere and an earring somewhere, so you might actually have both of those things. Dragon is an interesting call. But look at that, you didn't fly up that time. That's awesome. That means you're thinking about it.
Which dragon will it be? Okay. You go back row. Okay, what does everybody have equipped? Skills. Say.
Morph, GP, Rain, Runic, and Tools. Interesting choice to front row them. I think like going for a level 3 dragon, nothing that they do in the front is going to do anything but provoke a counter. So you probably don't want them attacking at all if they're not using magic. I don't think we checked relics. Don't think we checked relics. I don't even know about everybody else. You could. My preferred is to have somebody with either, hero ring, earrings, hopefully 2, or a mix and match of those, just to have the highest magic and then crack it that way. A level 3 dragon with just rods can be really rough because of counter attacks. It really depends on which dragon it is. Oh, this is a great dragon. He's probably going to kill you instantly, though. If he gets an attack, he will kill you because it's almost always an area effect attack that he does. We got a preemptive, so we have a shot. Ah, yep. The problem with the old blue boy here. Yeah. And I didn't look. Maybe some of the loot that I found, because I know I had an earring and a hero ring by this point. So it's possible you have those, and having those equipped on someone would drastically increase how much damage that rod is going to do. Yeah, there's your hero and earrings. So hero and earrings will stack. So a hero ring gives you the benefit of an atlas armlet and an earring together. If you stack it with an earring, you get the benefit of 2 earrings, just as if you were wearing 2 earrings, and the atlas armlet. So you can use that in place of giving somebody double earrings. A hero ring and earring is fine, or even double hero rings. Double hero rings will not give you the double atlas armlet, but that still gives you double earrings and the atlas armlet benefit. So they do stack and mix and match. 2 hero rings work the same as 2 earrings. And you do want to stack those on your strongest magic caster, which is probably Strago. Just crack a rod. Slam a rod in their face. You get 10 of them. Yeah, if you know that rods are half off and dirt cheap, just use them. Get out of this fight, heal up real quick, and go slap that dragon again. Problem is, he did like 250 damage, so you got to make sure you can at least withstand 1 attack from him. Right here, I'd probably be weight tricking because they are doing a pretty good amount of damage to you. So giving them the opportunity to attack some more is not preferable. Now GP Rain will have no more split damage, so you should do 120, 180. That won't do much of anything. He's got almost no HP left. Yeah, he's got 200 now. Whirlwind heals for the amount of HP they have. Good experience fight. That should be enough to let you survive 1 attack from the dragon. 291, it's really close. You bought 0 of them. Yeah, you saw the sleeping bags and decided against it. Maybe it was because you were hoping to get some half-off ones, but you didn't purchase any. All right, hopefully we can withstand a fight. But I mean, you should be able to do so much more damage than you were before just from pure levels. Another preemptive. Lucky ducky. Yeah, so much more damage. He is probably gonna die right here, maybe. Yeah. I generally don't recommend a level 3 dragon with just rods. It's possible to get through it, but I recommend a level 3 dragon if you're gonna have super balls. If you got maybe 1 or 2 super balls, then you're good to go. And this play was very good strictly because of the fact that you got an experience egg really early. Now the question is, who are you gonna put it on? All right, going straight to Mog things. Okay. Not a bad choice considering how supercharged you are from that really good grind fight into a dragon. You already have Bolt 3, you got that experience egg ready. You don't have a ton of offense, but you do have all those rods, which is fantastic. This is one of those seeds I did not find a single shop with earrings, and not for lack of trying. Sip the bucket. Sip the bucket. There's a bucket there that would heal you. Since you're still hurt from the dragon, that would have put you up to top. The max. Now you're going to have that choice of, am I going to heal before I do Kefket Narsh? Are we running back to heal? I would just use a tent if that was the case. Oh, that's right. I didn't even see this. That's funny. I was too focused on the bucket. Forgot that you didn't activate Lone Wolf yet. That's good. That's good. Good catch. I'm going to skip. So when you're considering experience eggs, you really want to be thinking about the future of the character. Who is most likely going to need it the most. So, well, there you go. You said it for me. Edgar has the highest chance of using a big stick. So, putting it on him is great. The plus strength is also great, and none of your characters are going to scale off strength, and likely won't find many weapons that'll scale off strength that they could actually use because they're not natural users of it. Edgar can naturally use all 3 biggest sticks, Atma, Ragnarok, and Illumina. So, knowing that he can use 3 of the biggest weapons that really scale well off of strength and levels, just giving it to him is fine. Now, if you had a thrower and you knew where some shurikens were, maybe you'd put it on them instead. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We didn't heal yet, so hopefully everything that will be fine with that.
Who gets left behind? Strago, sorry. No one's gonna learn Esper. Dang it.
Go ahead and skip.
Kills. Whip. Kills. Relic.
Actually, I didn't see that. Let me look at the relic real quick. Did you put the experience egg on him already? Okay, there we go. Got it.
Alright, wait for the skip. Nope. Take these grind fights.
It's a pretty good grind fight, though. Oh, damn. Dice actually work sometimes. Love it. It's a really good grind fight. That was so much experience. Tons of experience. That's also because you have that experience egg on, so it always shows you the experience egg HP, so it looks a little more inflated than you would expect. What's funny is I bet with the crazy levels you just got from that last one, you could probably just drill it and it would die and it'd be faster. I would probably test it just to see if it would work. That way it's much faster than the fixed dice would be.
3 fights, whatever.
I would probably slam a rod into these guys because they can meteor you. And they have a lot of life too.
Yay, Mug lives. 1 down.
Fixed dice never worked this good for me. I think you're a cheater.
Okay, that's down.
Another good experience fight though. I mean, that's really, really good experience and magic points. You're still at like 26 HP though. Playing a risky game.
Atma. Evil Atma.
Honestly, I would consider morphing here. You get a big chunk of your morph bar back just from how much HP or how much MP he gives. Good old dice. They're so good early on. It's the only time I give them credit.
2 down. 2 checks down, 1 to go.
Now, are we going to do Moogle defense right away? You seem to be a pretty risky player.
Atma weapon, not bad.
Not bad, you say. Only one of the best weapons possible for Edgar with an experience egg with strength plus 2 espers.
I really wish you got a story that bad. Okay.
Gonna save first. That is a safe play for sure. Sip the bucket, have a save.
Right into Moogle defense but not here. Toilet water. Save. You're gonna heal strength for that.
I'd probably put everybody in the back row as well, since you have nobody who's actually going to be front row attacking right now. And dice don't do half damage or anything.
Edgar and give it to Edgar once he gets strong enough past drill.
Oh, where are you running?
Start passing drill very quickly.
Where you running? Where are you going? Okay. It's a little worried. I'm like, oh no.
Find something else. Other than that, we're in a very. Saban has his fixed dice. He's good.
I like how you're talking through what your builds are going to be. That's really, really important to know and keep in mind what you're working towards, that you could appropriately prepare your characters. So you very correctly just said, Edgar can use the Atma weapon, so we'll have him use that. And that goes perfectly hand in hand with the fact that he's got an experience egg and a +2 strength esper ready to go. So you know that he's going to be slapping. You already know you have an offering. So you got like a killer ready made Edgar. I'm just going to skip a little bit. Good Moogle defense skip. Love it. So these guys can be kind of nasty, so you really do want to try and wait trick here, although I guess it doesn't really matter, come to think of it. This is because you're doing so much damage from all the levels you've gotten, and those dice are just absolutely wrecking. But for future reference, if you're a little bit weaker on these guys, you just want to make sure not to overqueue your characters too much, but I would say that you are more than strong enough to overqueue if you would like. Those guys were not going to threaten you in any way. You you can warp. So once you're here, yeah. So you actually walked up there, but you can warp up there. So if you walk up, as soon as you exit this room, you can warp from here, and you're ready to go. You don't have to walk. So keep that in mind. It's gonna skip, 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 skip. I was gonna say you should love it because you have crazy offense that can slaughter them. These guys killed me because I came here as my first check. I didn't do an early dragon, so this is great for you. The dice scammed the hell out of you though, but one of the better experience fights in the game. So like really, really good to take this fight. You're gonna get like what, 25,000 experience, 20,000, something like that. Kind of an absurd amount. So right there, like we saw how much damage we did on the other Doom Dragon. We did about 4,000 damage, and we know that we already did about 2,500. We could have just drilled him, and it would have killed him much, much faster than trying to throw 4 fixed dice. So one thing I would recommend is try and always pick the fastest possible choice to kill as opposed to just the most powerful. Fixed dice can be strong, but they are the slowest physical attack in the game. So the more you use it, the more time you're kind of throwing away. Same thing right here. You could have just full party bolt 3'd and killed them all, as opposed to having to wait for the dice. They'd already be dead. You'd be moving on to the next fight by now. That's why I call fixed dice kind of a trap for newer players. They're really, really good, but you bleed time. Every time you throw the things, you're bleeding more time out. Takes about 10 or 11 seconds to throw those 4 dice. And you're not even guaranteed to kill stuff if it rolls really low. Yeah, Baron Falls is a good choice.
I do short quick checks. Ice Shield it's good for Merton protection. I don't know what. I was supposed to equip Shope before doing all that. Lovely. Oh, bad buttons. Balls are right here. Menu. Skill. Shope. HP 100%. I don't have a VK user yet.
The one thing on there was, whoa, I would not take off his Strength Esper.
Speaking of which, skills. Actually, you're gonna be an Atma user now.
So I would never, the rest of the seed, I would never remove that Strength Esper. You might have forgotten it had Strength on it. I hope you remember later, but pretty much when you have that Strength Esper and you have someone who's going to be using it with the offering, you just let it cook. He doesn't need to learn magic anymore because his only job is to slap things. But as it stands now, nobody's learning the Bolt 3 or gaining any of the stat bonus. So you just want to keep that in mind.
Okay, let's go gambling. Not really. Fuck. Not really. Triple ones.
Yeah, it's
Good.
pretty classic fixed dice. Love it. I'm just going to skip because this fight is it's insanely safe for you. So I don't think there's a chance that you actually die here. So yeah, they're already dead. And we get
Raiden, that's instant death.
yep, instant death, especially for Kefka.
I mean, I'll do the full train, but oh, Bahamut wasn't equipping Ultima. Okay, you get Ultima. Strength plus SP. Yes, that goes to Chicago right now for both.
So Strago already has Bolt 3 and he's not attacking, so there's no reason for him to have that Esper. So it definitely just belongs on Edgar. Skip ahead. There's not much that I need to see on this one. Esper, all right.
Well, get some stuff on it now. Doom will take.
Chances are you'll heal before the boss, or at least probably go to the save point before the boss. So
A little bit more accurate.
if you're going to save before the boss, I would say wait for your menu there, but we'll find out. I don't really need to watch any of this. Looks like you did save. So in that event, you would want to do your menu here. You would check your Esper here. That way it's one less menu. Every time you open the menu, you're losing about 2 to 4 seconds. Thankfully, a pretty easy boss. So it's at this point, with Edgar nearly level 40, those dice should be retired. There's no need for them to have the offering anymore because Edgar would just be slapping so hard already with those Atma weapons that there's no need for super ultra slow dice that are also inconsistent to even be considered for speed purposes.
That wasn't bad.
He'd be doing a guaranteed right around 8 to 10,000 damage every single time Edgar attacks, and he'll do it in half the time.
And we know Ultima. Alright.
I think this check sequence has been good so far, though.
We still have Colts.
I think Doing the dragon, getting all those levels made doing all the Narsh things much more safe. You've had good instinct on where the experience egg went. I think so far just the prioritizing that Esper bonus is being overlooked, which will leave a bunch of damage on the table later. And a bit of over reliance on the very, very slow and inconsistent fixed dice as opposed to Edgar, who can already lay down about 8 to 10,000 damage per attack, much faster than fixed dice will typically be used.
Such a long walk to do Colts. Way over level. I don't care.
Way over leveled, I don't care. The famous last words before Doomgaze ruins somebody's life.
Probably move Ultima over to Strago as well. No, though I'd like to get rid of Strago. Ultras 3.
So if you saw, you attacked with Mog, but he did 400 damage. In general in this game, if a character is not laying down any numbers, they don't need to act. You could just skip them. It didn't waste much time there because all you really did was, attack with him and then attack with Sabin. But in general, it's good to just not worry about having somebody do stuff. They can just watch their friends do all the work. So we'd have to be thinking about some Strago things or some Edgar things.
Here.
It's good for the peak, for sure. We're looking for characters over Espers. That's a good choice, so you can see if there's a character wandering around.
I think I'm okay. If there was a character, I'd do it now, but if Esper.
I think that is the correct choice. Yeah, it's a good move, too. I like it. I personally did Ebbets before this, but that's because I didn't want to feel like I would have to do Ancient Castle. I mean, I know there's going to be a character coming up here, but if I had come here and they weren't there, then I would have felt like I would have had to do Ancient Castle. If you could see the tears in my eyes, all that strength not going to Edgar's, making me very sad. You're making me cry. Does that make you feel good about yourself? Levels are more important than strength, but if you can cook, why not cook harder?
And if you want me to prove you wrong, I'll trauma dump.
Do a little skip because I don't really need to watch any of this stuff. There's nothing fancy in them boxes.
Better weapon availability. Strike best girl. Strike a pose. Okay, pick the controller back up.
So there's a few issues here I just want to go over. One, you attacked with Mog when he's only doing 400 damage. The best he could do is provoke a counterattack, which would waste more time. So he could just stand there and do nothing. You can't cast a spell because he's got Reflect. You could use Ultima. Ultima probably would have killed him in one hit, and you would have been done. Edgar has an Atma weapon, but he's also in the back row. And then you use tools and no, you didn't use tools. He did actually attack, but he's in the back row, so he's only doing half damage. He needs to be front row with Atma weapon. And so we could have killed with one attack with Ultima on Mog that you started with, if Edgar was in the front row, there's a really good chance you would have killed him in one slice. But instead, we did a random attack, and then we did a back row Atma weapon, and now we're going to do fixed dice. So it's those two attacks were pretty well pointless with the orientation, the timing in which they were done. So if you were gonna do fixed dice, just switching to him and doing fixed dice would save you time, as opposed to doing kind of the wimpy attacks that everybody else is doing from their respective positions. And that goes back to what I said earlier, being very careful and mindful of the order of your attacks, who is doing the damage, and how can you kill in the fastest way possible. And in this case, it would be that Atma, put the offering on him, pop him in the front row, and just wreck face. I was gonna say, I think Strago had your Moogle charm. We're just gonna skip. Let me see, are you fighting this, or are you using a smoke bomb? I'm gonna shout back to the beginning when you bought like 11 smoke bombs, but instead of using one of the 200 gold smoke bombs, you used like the 1,000 gold warp stone right there. So keep that in mind for future seeds. You bought the smoke bombs, but I haven't seen you use any of them yet. So it's probably better just to buy a few of them in case you get into an emergency, and otherwise don't buy any more. Save the money. So I'd be asking yourself, I guess you're probably teaching her Bolt 3. It's not really about the strength, so that's fine. She can have some magic. She's got X magic, so that's good. Okay, do an Ancient Castle. Interesting choice to do Ancient Castle. I mean, I know that you are... Yeah, you still need another character. You still need 4 Espers, so I guess you could come down here. It's just a little slow, but it's not too bad. The issue for me is that it's kind of long, and it's not even a guaranteed progression. So you could just get a dead check down here. There is the dragon, but there's not really much magic you're looking for. You might have wanted to consider doing Ultima on Celis instead. That way she could double cast Ultima as needed. But I mean, double cast Bolt 3 works too. But at least Ultima works on everything forever. While Bolt 3, you might run into something that you can't use Bolt on. We're hoping for an Esper here. Okay, good. At least it wasn't a waste of time. Yes. Yes, you do. So here's what I want to do real quick. I want to go into your menu. Go back. All right. So let's do a little recap. And this is something I do with myself while I'm running, of like, what are my characters doing? Where are they? Like, are they in the appropriate spacing? Like, are they in the front row, back row? What are my goals for my characters? So I can kind of gear them up appropriately and see what they're doing. So Celis is going to have the Illumina, and that's really good. So with the Illumina works with gauntlets. Awesome. We just picked up a gauntlet. Therefore, we give her a gauntlet, right? Perfect. Gauntlets don't work on Atma weapons, so we don't need them to be on Edgar. They should be on Celis. That will give her the increased physical damage for two-handing it. No shield, but like, who cares? You have her with a +2 strength, which I guess that's fine. I would still be prioritizing that on Edgar personally because he's got the most damage potential by using the offering later. But as it stands right now, you could definitely do what you're doing. Just make sure you are absolutely prioritizing how or the relics that you put on Celis. So she should have the hero ring, which gives her the 25% physical attack bonus, and then any pearl procs she gets would increase her magic damage because of the earring benefit that hero ring gets, and then the gauntlet to increase her physical damage by 50%. So that way you're hitting as hard as possible with that Illumina. We also need to remember that Illuminas don't have to be in the front row, and we never want to be in the front row if we don't have to be, because we're taking double the damage from any physical attacks, and that's never a good thing. So Celis should be in the back row with that Illumina. Edgar has an Atma weapon and should be in the front row because Atma weapon does half damage from the back row. So we need to keep that in mind. He should have the Atlas armlet for that extra physical damage. Or alternatively, for the time being, he should have the experience egg and the offering. That way he can just be absolutely wrecking house with that Atma weapon right now. Mog has Ultima and he has Ice 3 or Bolt 3. I think he has both of those. So, he's just casting magic when you need it. And Sabin can just hold on to the fixed dice and just throw them once if needed. But in general, your primary offense at this point, with the levels that you're at, you want to be using more physical damage. So magic is okay, but you have no magic boosting anything, and you are severely lacking in magic boosting relics like earrings. We never found them. I don't know where they are in the seed. Seed said no earrings. So our magic damage is super middling in the seed, while our physical damage is insane. So we should be prioritizing Celis and Edgar as our DPS, Mog as whatever magic that is needed and only when it's needed. And Sabin can throw dice if needed and only if needed. Or he could be casting some utility spells. If you got haste, you can put some haste up. He could be your cure bot. He can be like your stopper versus poltergeist. So you can be teaching him spells throughout the seed so that he could use those. Because in my mind, a single throw fixed dice, he's going to be your calmness protection guy, so give him all the utility stuff. And that's just what his job can be, because his job is slow and inconsistent, aka fixed dice. We have better opportunities. So I would always be thinking like these two right here are your stars. This is your supporting crew, or this is like your backup, and this is your support. That's where I'd be looking at, and I would gear them accordingly. I'm gonna get off my soapbox for the time being. Let's skip ahead. We don't need to watch the whole run. Where's the sleeping bags? Ooh, pick up another Mega Elixir and get some sleeping bags. Get like 10 or 20. So you have $60,000, but and and you put him in the front row, but didn't buy anything there. I probably would have gotten at least 10 sleeping bags just to get you through Kefka's Tower, pretty much, or some of the other stuff that you're doing. Maybe even another Mega Elixir because it was half off. 22K. Meh, it's not bad. To make this part easier, that walk, you can just walk straight east when you exit and then straight south, and you'll go around the right side. It's the same distance pretty much. So with those shops that you did, each shop that you went to is contributing to that menu time that you said that you're having struggles kind of getting down. And you went to both of them, but I'm not sure what exactly you were looking for there. So you do want to ask yourself, do I even need to check this shop? Like, is the shop necessary? And if not, just don't go. That way you are you're saving time in that way. Correct. Sabin should have the Moogle charm. Probably going to get a fight because I think No, I think Stella still has the Moogle charm on. We would just wanted to have a gauntlet on her if possible. I'm just going to skip since we don't really need to watch the run. Don't need to watch. This is a good move. This is a really good move. This could be instant unlock if you get lucky, because the front two checks are both Esper item only. So you could get lucky and get 2 Espers, and that resolves your Esper requirements. And then we can get lucky with the last one, which is a 50-50 shot at a character, because that's an Esper character only, guaranteed progression. Hopefully we get a character there. That would be fantastic.
I need to check Bismarck anyway.
So I'm going to say this real quick. At this point, when you think, like, if I'm looking at your offense and I'm like, all right, we have Edgar, Future offering Atma weapon, crazy pumped experience. He's going to have an Atlas armlet. Boom, offering Atlas armlet. He's done. We don't need anything else for him. We got Celis, who has the Illumina. We're going to have her with a gauntlet and a hero ring. Boom, she's done. We have 2 characters that really don't need to do a ton of damage, but we have Ultima. Right? We have Ultima and we have some fixed dice. And if we need to in Kefka's Tower, we could switch the offering over to Sabin. You know, that way Sabin could maybe carry a lane by himself, right? So with all of that said, I would ask yourself, what am I looking for in my chests, right? Because each chest you kind of go out of the way for, you're losing a second or so, right? Second, 2 seconds. If you're running a long distance, maybe 4 or 5 seconds for every one of them that you go to. So there comes to a point in most seeds where you're like, oh, I have everything I need. I have plenty of items. You have a mega elixir, you have multiple elixirs, you got all sorts of fun stuff. You got really good toys and big sticks. You got plenty of magic. There's nothing that you'll find in any of these chests that is likely to make it any faster at all. So at this point, this is where I would just say no more looting. I don't need any more chests. The loot goblin will be screaming into your ear like it does for me as well, but sometimes we got to tell him to shut up. No more looting. I tend to loot until I know I don't have to loot anymore. Where I'm like, all right, I got the offense that I needed. I have the offense that I need to finish this game. Therefore, once you have enough, you're good. Solid.
Or raggy, we would say. Anybody know Cure? No one knows Cure. Lovely.
So right there, you can see, Sabin is in the front row, I believe. So he might have survived that had you had him in the back row, because fixed dice are not affected by row. So you would be able to have him in the back row without losing any damage at all.
Nice link you got there. Would be a shame if somebody could get around it. I mean, that's not bad. Condemned seed is still kicking off. I mean, people are the only people who lost their condemned timer were the people who died. So that's
And that is a good thing to know, is that, if someone's about to die, you could revive them, and then that they're not going to have the condemned timer when you revive them. Oh, you did buy sleeping bags at some point. You must have bought them before you put Edgar in the front.
HP plus 100%.
I'm taking notes and stuff like that as well, so sometimes I miss little things that you're doing. Sorry about that.
Ace 2 is the best thing. I don't see it here. Go.
Skip a little bit.
Oh, easy fight.
So even without the gauntlet, she's crushing for over 5,000. So that's awesome. She'd be doing right around 7,500 with that gauntlet. It's a pretty easy fight. We're going to skip. One of those fights that's pretty much not threatening for you. This is a fantastic choice to finish up Magitech 3. It's a bit slow, but it is guaranteed progression and gives you a really good shot at just getting unlock right now. We're going to skip way ahead. Okay, using those smoke bombs, love it. We do not need levels anymore. Same thing like we didn't need the chest. We don't really need levels anymore. We're ready. Like, if you were fighting Kefka right now, you're ready. You just need to clean up your relics and your space in if they're front row, back row, and you'd be able to kill Kefka right this moment. Also a pretty spicy spicy bosses here. That is super unfortunate. So what we would want to do here is actually use her to attack somebody. Just smack Sabin, revive him, and get him back up. It'll be faster. Because there's nothing else you can do right now. You can attack your own characters. If you're ever in this situation, just crush one of them, revive them, and call it a day. Like, revive them right now. You got plenty of time. There we go. Because Edgar can't attack because of Love Token. Celis can't attack because of Love Token. The only person that can attack right now is Sabin. Or Mog. Because Mog has Ultima. I probably would have X-Potioned because this is not going to give him enough HP to survive most of the big spells that Goddess can use. Okay, good. She didn't target him, thankfully. Edgar's death is important, or is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Better to get out of the fight alive than, you know, get into death loops and stuff, but she should be dead after this, right? Okay, good. Correct, yeah. Good, I'm glad you remember that you get a full heal there. Knowing where all those natural heals are is fantastic. I love it. Yeah, you're fantastic mind for like how many checks you're at and how to do a really quick skip. It's fantastic. Beautiful. Watch out for overflow. Okay, he didn't do it. Good. Yeah, search the skies straight into mid KT is exactly what you want to do here. That's perfect. So you said it yourself there, she still wants strength. Therefore, there's no need to look through the espers for her. Look through the espers for the ones that are more likely to use magic. Yeah, like that Cure 3 on Mog is great. Sure. Why not? Yeah, we definitely didn't want to attack with her because you can't do damage with the Illumina. You can do damage with the fixed dice. I mean, we got fixed dice and we have the Atma that would work because Atma shreds defense. Yeah, so Atma would go through straight to his physical defense, so you can cut right through it. Ultima, of course, that's also, it works. Any non-elemental works, but Ultima, of course, works. Fixed dice works. So you had definitely some options there. No fire magic, but that's okay. Let's keep skipping, keep skipping, keep skipping. Oops. So I'm gonna put a note in here about why strafing or X strafing. X strafing. That way you can fine tune your landings more, and it's way faster than trying to turn and aim and then drive and then turn and then aim and then drive and then all that stuff happens. So it's better to get close and then use the strafing of your airship to fine tune your landing.
Hydon. We don't like seeing Hydon here.
Hydon's a chomp. Again, not much that I need to be focusing on here, so let's just keep skipping.
Don't like this. Not bad. Not
Sweet.
bad.
Yeah, it's good. A little extra shield to crack with later.
Oh my gosh, give me the easiest dragon last.
Hopefully he lets it be an easy dragon dead last. Ah, classic. At least you have Ultima. Please no do it again. Please no.
Have an ice shield equipped.
That's very much. That's such a classic dragon move, just to freeze most of your guys. All right, there's your skip. Beautiful.
I'd rather you have Rag over. Okay.
Now we just warp out.
Which had the Genji glove? Which shop had the Genji glove?
World of Balance Narsh.
The Figaro, I think.
This was the point when I ran this seed that I wanted to get more defense. I was feeling really low defensively, and I've seen you taking a lot of damage too. So I was looking, I was like, man, I'm taking some heavy hits. So this is about where I bought armor.
It was Narsh Balance. Narsh Balance had it.
Yes, it was. Good call to remember that and realize that you have an Illumina user that could also benefit from using the Ragnarok. That is wonderful.
That's not the relic shop. That's in.
Really good instinct on doing that because it just adds so much more damage.
That's why not. Edgar was back road with the. Hi, relic. Already calling me out for it.
Uh-huh. Yep, I am calling you out for it. I have been the whole seed. Oh, look at that. Dude, that was perfect. That was beautiful.
Is there another sword you can equip? No, not
I
really.
love that. You put the big stick first and then Atma second. That is the only way to do that appropriately. And that is so much, that is such a good way to do this. I still hate fixed dice offering as an end game build, but oh well. You did, however, just give.
Fixed dice person.
You do have, and you just said I had him in the front row this whole time, and or in the back row the whole time, and he's still in the back row. Now he has a Ragnarok that also needs front row. So, front row that boy.
Let's do one final save checkpoint to make sure everyone's got good gear.
Oh goodness, nobody has good gear. They're all horrible except for their weapons.
Vomit. No, I want you to get your strength up. So you stay there, I guess. I like kind of like you to get your strength up if possible. Well, golem. I think I really want you to learn quick. No Ultima. Tier 3.
Oh, Edgar is in the front row now. I take back my previous comments. But so is Sabin. Sabin should definitely not be in the front row. He should be in the back row.
Okay, we're doing statues. We need our middle party is the strongest. You can do a lane by yourself. You can do it by yourself. Ellis has a Moogle charm equipped already, so that's perfect.
So, just as a general rule of thumb, because the middle lane, I don't even need to pause, because the middle lane
Final boss time.
has 2 bosses, you generally want to have the ones that are going to benefit from levels more in the middle. So you would want to do probably Celis and Edgar there. So they're continuing to gain levels and getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Levels scale twice as much with big sticks than they do with magic. You also have Mog with Ultima that can carry a lane, and you have Sabin with the fixed dice offering that can carry a lane. So your 2 melee users right in the middle, and then your 2 kind of alternate guys on the wings, and you're perfectly fine. They had plenty of offense to handle it. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. Casual 20k.
Who do I want? I need Golem, I need Raiden, and I need Siren. Okay. The rest of them don't matter. I'd rather take Bahamut, so whoever has Stray is picking up Siren. Not that save slot. Okay. I didn't even take any damage, so we're not even gonna go. Not sleeping bagging. This is a Lumen Ultima. Go.
I'm gonna skip this because it's fish and it's a long fish too, unfortunately. It's like a 45-second fish.
Next for Behemoth.
This is also very non-threatening. Good call not attacking with Celis because you were not going to kill him in one hit. Well, you would have if you Pearl procced, actually. So, that's fine. He does get cranky if you cast Flare or Pearl on him, the first form, but not if he dies.
Alright, whatever. Good.
Good knowledge knowing that you could doom him. And I'm skipping because there's really just not much for me to critique here. Siren does make sense, absolutely. So we have Instant Death, we have Mute, we have Calmness Protection on Sabin, which is appropriate. Gauntlet. 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 Oh, dang. Especially with an Illumina, Gauntlet's fine because she's in the back row.
Okay, you are a caster. Not feeling anything.
Gembox could have worked there. Double casting Ultima tier 2 would have been fine. You don't want to abuse it. But since you have no earrings, you're not losing anything by having it. I guess it forces you into X magic, so you could be losing something by getting it. Kefka is just going to die, most likely. Yeah. I don't need to watch you fighting Kefka by throwing dice at him. It's fine. All right, so I'm interested in seeing how your Kefka goes here. Yeah, not much that matters. I had 2 guys with nothing on. I think I had 1 guy with a Moogle charm, and I think 1 other guy had 0 relics. I just didn't care because I didn't have any earrings, and nothing mattered for them. All right. So let's see. Let's see how we handle Final Kefka. Here's what I want to see. I don't want to see fixed dice. We have too much front front-facing offense to be using it. It's too slow. We have, Celis going to be cracking 9s, and Edgar's going to be cracking 9s twice. And fixed dice are probably not going to be doing that, and they're going to do it really slowly. So I just want to see those two doing stuff, and everybody else being the supporting cast. You could also cast Golem here and protect yourself. All right, let's revisit that. Let's count the damage of those fixed dice real quick. I'm gonna use this opportunity to slander those fixed dice so hard. So hold on. Actually, hold on. Let's look at Celis real quick. Celis, boom, 6,600. All right, and Edgar, 500, 700. Okay, fine. It's 4,400. You did about 5,000 damage in 10 seconds, where Celis did 6,500 or whatever in 1 second, right? See what I'm saying? Sure, it could have been 4,999s, but that's so unlikely. Okay, sweet. Doom worked. Love it. We do not want to be attacking with Sabin here because he can absolutely get you killed by killing head first if it rolls really, really good. Very risky here. If you kill short arm first and then head, you're going to get quaked. But you probably won't because the dice are pretty good this time. I think what I'll have you do, I'm going to ask you to fight this fight again, but roll no dice. So that you can see how it would feel to be more physically oriented as opposed to just relying on the dice. Yep, good call on that. Now Edgar's in the front row and he's wearing toilet paper, so I'd be a little worried about his ability to withstand a punch, but he also is like level 56 or whatever, so even if he got countered, he probably would have been fine. This is a good tier to smash an Ultima, just to do a bunch of damage to the whole stack. But we don't have anybody with boosted magic, so it might not even be worth it. Okay, good. Girls down. I think somebody has Siren. I just don't remember who it was. I was going to say you should probably be attacking Tiger, but you called yourself out on that one. It's fine. You just don't want to hurt Tiger too much and then let him sit there. Otherwise, you get Doom Tusked. $1,000, $2,000, $4,500, 5,500 damage in 10 seconds. That's still less than Celis does instantly. Not even counting a proc. Even with a proc, it would be faster than the 4 fixed dice. Good. That's going to kill Tiger for sure. This is a situation where you could ask yourself, you know what, am I worried about 10 hits? Which I probably would be worried about 10 hits here, just to cast Golem and protect yourself from it. Because you're so under armored. So he did a little over 10,000 there, but Edgar can do 20 in 3 seconds. I'm going to keep drilling it in. You got the fixed dice hater on this VOD review. Five, 6.5, 10, 13,000. Thankfully, Magic's not dead. You can still recover, regardless of what happens here. And you're not in any danger at all of dying at this point. So you could just kill and cure on the next boss if you wanted to. The risk of doing this is that he may quarter you, which would kind of negate the cure 3 on anybody that it hits, but it might not hit anybody, and you might not cast it at all. So it's just a risk to use it, but not a bad risk. All right, so here's what I was talking about. So unfortunately, that cure, 2 people are gonna, it's just negated, but it didn't hit Edgar, so who cares? I think that was pretty good. I think it was done quite well. You had the right priorities there. You did your instant death. You did your mute. Fantastic. I probably would have just focus fired hit a little harder to get him out of there because of how low your physical defense was. And just kind of using the targeted offense that you don't risk the magic and hit dying at the same time if the fixed dice rolled particularly well. Thankfully, they did not in that instance. But you did run the risk of getting quartered into 10 hits, which might have wiped you. And it's the same thing I did on my run, so I'm not immune to that mistake. Trust me. I agree. You can hit with Celis once, Edgar once, and then Edgar again, and he dies. Honestly, Edgar would have just done 20, then you just tap him up a little bit, cast Golem, and hit him again, and he dies. That would have been probably the optimal way. I don't know if we have Golem up. Do we have Golem up? Did I miss that? Did I miss Golem? I hope I missed Golem. He's dead. There ain't no way he survives that. Oh, shoot, he's not dead. The one time I didn't actually do pure math, I thought for sure he was dead. That's crazy. He's got like 1 HP left. He is so close to dead. I am so shocked he survived. Now we just swing with Celis and call it a day. He's very, 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 very near dead. Got a little out of control there, but that's all right. You're done. You're good. Oh, okay. So you did forget Golem. All right. So the shenanigans helped you remember Golem, which is really, really good. It would have been very unfortunate to lose either Celis or Edgar.
Media going into Kefka, great.
It's okay. You're fine. Kefka can't do much to you aside from Goner and Ultima counters. Like, he can't wipe your whole group early. So there's nothing to really worry about. You know, he has the potential to do Fallen One, which brings you to 1 anyway. That's fine. He's only going to do mostly single target casts, and even if he does a multi-target cast at any point, it's not going to kill your whole party even after that Meteo. So no need to worry about having a little bit of damage going into Final Kefka. You just need to be mindful of how much damage you do to him so that you don't accidentally get yourself ultima'd when you're at low life and just wipe instantly, you know? There's 20. 29, so we need a little bit more. Slam an Ultima out there. Yep. I don't think we needed quick. Quick is not quick when you're using it for magic. Yeah, if you casted the Ultima, you probably would have had it. It was really, really close, though. He cannot counter after the first attack of quick. So everything is frozen. Everything is frozen when they're quick for that first attack. And that's a legitimate tactic to avoid counters. So even though he's past the 30% or the 30,000 damage threshold, he literally could not counter you, no matter what. All right, GG. That went pretty good. That went pretty good. Well done. Condemned was never an issue for you. Your damage was really, really high. All right, so I will go over just some of the things that I noticed that seem to be some of the most immediate ways to save time across all of your seeds. So early on, when you're doing your shopping, you do have a tendency to sort of scroll up and down. You'll scroll to the bottom and buy a couple things. You'll scroll to the top, buy a couple things. You'll scroll to the middle, buy a couple things. Scroll to the top, buy a couple things. Scroll down to the bottom, buy a couple things. And when you do it that way, you know, every time you ever scroll around and everything else, it's just costing time in the shops. And I know you're concerned about your menu time, and that is contributing to your menu time. Total menu time does include that. So you just want to be mindful of how you're shopping. I would probably recommend, like, I have to scroll down to the bottom just to like train my eyes to look down the list and speed read it. But you can just open the menu, read it real quick, and then just go down the list. Bam, 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 bam. Especially early on, you know you're going to need some Phoenix Downs, you're going to need some potions, you're going to need some curables like antidotes and eye drops and whatever else that you need. You know, echo screens and green cherries. You're going to need that stuff, a couple of them. You're probably on your mind is like, can I find some smoke bombs? Buy like 3 or 4 of those. I got to find some warp stones. Buy a couple of those. You know, and you just go down the list. Bam, 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 bam. And if you need to sell something, you could exit out and then sell and go back in if you need to, but that's fine. Just, you know, kind of get a feel of what the shop is first and what you need, and then just blast down the list and get out of there. That's it. For airships, you do have a tendency to fly up. So you raise the altitude of your airship before you go flying because it gives you a better view. So I understand that. But if you just utilize your mini map instead and don't worry about your height, you'll save several seconds every time you fly, because when you're raising up, that's costing you time. When you go to land and it has to go all the way down to the ground, that costs you time. And across a seed, that's probably minutes. So just try and stay as low to the ground as possible, and then just look at your mini map to aim. Talking about the airship, I personally don't like to fly and turn at the same time, or sharp turn at least, because you kind of end up doing big looping circles. So what I usually do is I'll use the shoulder buttons. You hold them down while you're turning, and you'll do a tight turn. And I'll sharp turn to point at the spot I'm going to, and then I just hold A and go to it. And then when I'm really close to it, I will be hitting Y. You hold Y and move around, and it'll strafe. So it does, the airship won't turn. It'll just move up, down, left, right. And you just do that to line up your landing, and then press B to land. So that way you don't have to do any turning to fine tune your landing, which takes time. And it's very minute and precise. So it's much better for being able to line up your landings. In general, there was a large over prioritization of fixed dice. Fixed dice are not a bad weapon. I give it a lot of smack. But the issue with fixed dice is how incredibly slow they are to use, especially with an offering. You're looking at 10 plus seconds every time you choose fight with those things. And you're not even guaranteed damage to show for it. It's incredibly good early on, and it tends to fall off bad later. Early on, it can just carry an entire seed, and that's fantastic. But later on, when you're only doing 3,000 damage, but you have characters that can do 20,000 damage, it falls off really hard, and it's still costing you the same amount of time. And then you can't even really use it very effectively for counting damage. In this seed, you had Edgar with an experience egg and plus strength. That's awesome. Once he hit about level 35, he would have been ready to take over the fixed dice. So he could have had the offering instead and been doing more damage consistently in half the time than the fixed dice would be. And you could guarantee how much damage he was going to do every time, right? Also, for a lot of the seed, the characters that should have been front rowed were not front rowed, and the characters that should not have been front rowed were still in the front row and taking a bunch of damage. Like Sabin is still in the front row at the end here. When he fixed dice are not affected by row, so he could be in the back row. And Edgar should have, of course, been in the front for most of the seed. When talking about sort of builds, it is good to think about what relics you're aiming toward by the end. Maybe you were doing that, and that's perfect. Maybe you wanted to use the fixed dice offering the whole time. That's fine. It will be the slower choice, but it's effective. It works. But just knowing like what you can use and how to equip them properly and why. So like me, I would have prioritized probably the hero ring on Celis. That way she gets a little bit of a boost to her proc because she's only swinging once. Plus the gauntlet, so I can guarantee a 9,999 damage swing, plus a really powerful pearl proc when it goes off. If I'm gonna get one, I want it to hit hard. And then Edgar, I can have the Atlas armlet because I don't really care about his procs. He's more about the physical damage that he's doing. So his Ragnarok and his Atmo weapon would have been doing 9s, and any procs are just like, to me, it would just be a waste of time. Like, cool, another 5,000 damage, whatever. So, it's prioritizing what your fastest ability is to get through a situation. Early on, there were a lot of times where you would attack with kind of a potato character like Mog. He would just hit with his spear for 200 damage, but then he would use Sabin and he would do 9,000 damage with his fixed dice. That attack, although it's not a long attack, while that attack is happening and he's stepping forward and attacking and stepping back, other characters can't act. So you're taking those 2 or 3 seconds that you could be doing anything else, and over the course of an entire seed, again, it can add up to, minutes if you do it a lot. So picking what's the fastest character for this situation and only using them will save you time across the entire seed. So just keep that in mind as you go through. Not every character needs to act. Frequently, you just switch to the character that's going to do the most and let them cook. A couple times you were checking shops, sometimes 2, 3, 4 times. You'd go into them, look, exit. Oh no, I think I saw something. Let me go back in it. Check it. Oh, wait, no, I don't think I need that. Go back in it. Oh, no, I got to sell some things. I'm going to do that. I'm going to buy this. So just try and keep in mind, what are you looking for when you go to a shop? Like, is there a reason you're there? And what are you looking for? If you don't see what you're looking for, get out of there. And if you find the thing you're looking for, just buy it and go. That's all you need to do. And just be careful with that, because every time you enter it, especially with the Figaro Castle guys that talk to you every time you open it, that's like 4 or 5 seconds every time you talk to them. It all just adds up. You get nickel and dimed is essentially what's happening there. Let's see. Toward the end, you were looting chests when you definitely didn't need anything out of them, and it's fun to open chests. I'm doing the VOD review more on a speed sort of mentality here. If you're just playing for funsies, you don't want to use a timer, you don't want to race, loot everything. Let that treasure goblin just take you over. But if we're looking for speed, once you know you have enough offense to finish the seed and there's nothing else you really need, stop looting. Each one of those is a couple seconds. Again, not much, but when you open 20 more chests, that's 40 seconds off the clock, and you probably didn't find anything you were really going to use, right? So it's all just like little things here and there that accumulate over a seed that'll ultimately be like 20 minutes taken off of your average as you get more efficient in shops. You get more efficient in setting up your builds and utilizing them in combat to their maximum, the fastest possible way. When you don't go to too many shops or loot too many chests, it all just knocks that time down by 5-10 minutes every single time you get good at one of those skills. And the next thing you know, you're like rolling out with 120s, 125s like it's nothing. You know what I mean? But other than that, that's about, those are the biggest things I saw that were costing you time throughout the entire seed. I think your general intuition on builds was really good. You made a good choice on the experience egg. I debate why you took the strength esper off Edgar. You taught Edgar a bunch of spells and stuff, and as you noticed, you used precisely 0 of them. So, typically, if you know a guy's going to be swinging a weapon, they don't need spells anymore. They're just going to swing the weapon, and you want their entourage to be casting the spells instead. So, debatable, but I think he could have gone with some more strength. He would have been stronger earlier, but as we saw, it really didn't matter that much because Homeboy was doing 20k anyway. But in general, if you didn't have the experience egg, that strength esper would have been even more important for Edgar to get him up to that 9,999 damage threshold. But you did recognize that Celis should have that by the end because she's going to be using her big Illumina, right? So you still have the good intuition of what is needed and where, and you know what characters are good at what. You knew that Edgar could use a big weapon, so you made sure he had the experience egg. You knew that Celis was a character you wanted to bring in because she has a good equip pool, and then lo and behold, you find the Illumina. Bam, perfect. So the intuition worked great in this seed. You just want to make sure that you're utilizing those intuitions to their maximum is all you really want to be doing, and you'll save a whole bunch of time that way. But otherwise, I think that's about it. If I had one suggestion, I would say fight that Kefka again and just lean so heavily on Celis and Edgar. You don't need to give Edgar the offering. You can still have Sabin with the fixed dice and the offering on if you want, but I would love you to refight that fight. Just have Celis and Edgar doing 90% of your damage, and just have Mog maybe crack off with a couple Ultimas in tier 2 just to do stack damage. And that's it. Sabin can keep Golem. Mog can keep probably, he has Doom, so he can just use Doom, but you can maybe give him Siren for mute. That way he's doing the utility stuff on tier 2, and then just let Edgar and Celis cook and see how that feels on Final Kefka. When you know how much damage you're going to do, you know who's going to be doing what where. You don't need to bounce around characters a whole lot to figure out what you're doing. You know Sabin is your Cure 3 bot now because he's not rolling those dice anymore. You know Mog is your utility guy because he's got Doom and he's got Siren and he can heal too. That's his job. That's it. Celis and Edgar, their job, DPS crew. Smash things down as fast as possible. I think there's a haste 2 in here somewhere, so maybe throw down a haste 2. Let Mog or Sabin send off one of those haste 2s. Let them be your support crew for the 2 crazy attackers in the front. You know what I mean? If you're going to do that, I would recommend, because Moogle Cup has multi-summon, you would want to probably go ahead and put Golem up on tier 1 because your armor is pretty bad. So having the Golem up would prevent Celis and Edgar from getting punched to death with all the counterattacks. So give that a shot. Set your party up to have Mog and Sabin support, Celis, Edgar, bruisers, and just fight all of Kefka again, just doing that. I don't want you to throw the dice even once. I want you to feel what it feels like to not throw those dice, to know how much damage each of your characters is doing, to know which enemies are going to be taking that damage, and be able to calculate easily how much damage you're doing on tier 3 so you don't get in that medio loop that you got into this time. So give that a shot. Let me know how it goes. I'm going to send you some notes in Discord. I'll send that recommendation as well. If you have any questions, always message me. It's fine. You can message me anytime. day or night. I don't get notifications on my phone, but I'm always checking Discord, so you're never going to interrupt me or wake me up. Just message me. It's perfectly okay. If you need to, or if you want to, you're free to sound off in the comments below. If anybody who's watching this has any questions about some of the things that I went over, feel free to sound off in the comments below as well. Anybody else who's listening as well, you can message me on Discord. I do not mind. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you on the next one. Have a good night. Bye.